Wish you all a very good morning. As the
Morning.
world, as the world continues to grapple with the COVID-19 crisis, we have gathered here to listen to our distinguished panelists chart a possible future course for our students. The topic of today's web seminar is post-corona transformation in education and work. We have more than 500 registered attendees today. For the ones who couldn't attend, couldn't register, they can watch us live on Facebook at EIILM Kolkata 69. Without further ado, I would request Professor Dr. R.P. Banerjee, Chairman and Director of EIILM Kolkata, to introduce the topic and initiate today's discussion.
Namaskar. Good morning, everybody. Today, EILM Kolkata is having this important seminar on this seminar on the web on this post-corona transformation in education and work. As we understand, education and work goes hand in hand, particularly when it is in professional field. Work has to be identified, and education has to tune itself to the quality of work, type of work, changes that are likely to happen in work. Keeping that in mind, we have designed today's web seminar with the distinguished scholars and practitioners in respective fields. We have Professor Dr. Shoikat Maitro, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Macau, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology, and in his own personal capacity, he is a leading scientist also. He has got a very important and distinguished views on education, particularly based on his own personal experience of running a vast empire of education under his university. We have Dr. Sanjay Muthal from Mumbai. Dr. Sanjay Muthal is one of the leading HR professionals in our country. Many of my friends, they know him very well for since long, and he is associated with top corporates in the country since long, and is regarded as one of the top 10 for HR professionals in our country as of now. Professor Sanjay Muthal, Dr. Sanjay Muthal is associated with many corporates, and he's on board of LIC of India, Government of India also. And Dr. D.K. Ghosh is a distinguished scholar and a practitioner. He was the chairman and managing director of ZT, a very leading, for telecommunication and digital company in the world. And he's taken leave from the company. Now he's running his own, consulting organization. He's consulting government of Israel and government of South Korea in different capacities. Also, he is a, profound scholar in telecommunication and this digital science. So with these distinguished persons on the panel, we have a very, very important deliberations, and people are expecting that this is going to add value in a significant manner to our thoughts and practices in near time to come. With this, I welcome all the distinguished panelists in this forum, and we begin the program. Over to Dia Banerjee.
Thank you, sir. Today we are honored to have as our first speaker Professor Dr. Shoikat Moitro, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Maulana Abul Kalam Azad University of Technology. Sir, if you could please share your views on today's topic with us.
Co-panelists, Dr. D.K. Ghosh, Dr. Sanjay Muthal, Professor R.P. Banerjee. It's a privilege for me to express my views on this post-corona transformation on education and work. And this has become a topic discussed at different forums and different webinars for the last 2-3 months. But still, it needs to be discussed further because there are lots of uncertainty, lots of confusion, lots of ambiguity. This is associated with the perception of education, what is going to happen in either in with COVID or after COVID situation. So let me express my views in that. What we are seeing that this situation probably it may persist for some more time. One report was published at Harvard Medical Review few days before that this social distancing or physical distancing, social distancing, people do not want to use now. Physical distancing may be continued, may be allowed to continue for some more times, probably even for 1 to 2 years more. We have to continue this social distancing, these norms and all these things. And what we are seeing, studying the statistics and curves of these cases of infections and all these things, it is still uprising. So my view is within this situation, we have to continue all the existing practices for running educations, running our business and all these things. Temporarily, there was this disruption and we had to pull back and we had to watch on the situation, but slowly and slowly we are settling. We are pulling our all wisdom, our all these perceptions, our experiences together to find out solution from different angles. So let us look at this business, which because I want to focus on professional and technical education, and that will be more justified for me to say, though education this has this vast connotation and vast this diversity, but I would like to focus on this technical and professional education, and it is related to industry and market. And if we look at this industry scenario and market scenario, you can see certain kinds of industries, they are always shielded and protected, and they will do all, whatever the situation is. And there will be upsurge and certain kind of industries also. For example, in medical science related, these industries, there was a steady demand, and there has been a demand, and there will be more demand. So courses and programs related to that will have this more takers and more demand in the near future. Medical science, medical technology, healthcare management, hospital management, these subjects will be of tremendous demand. You can see that right now, you can see the demand is very high, and near future the demand, there is no sign of decrease in the demand. On the other hand, it will be increasing. So this will be one of the good area to focus in developing a professional career, particularly medical science and related technology and management. It can be medical science or medical profession as such, and or associated programs like this digital health, like healthcare management, pharmaceutical technology, all these things. So pharmaceutical technology, pharmaceutical science, then all this pharmacovigilance, pharma analytics, healthcare management, hospital management, biomedical engineering, all these things that will be continued to continue to be considered as subjects of demand and better avenues for career development. So this is one thing. Second is, in this situation, almost all of us are being compelled to work in a remote work fashion. And many professional organizations, they are also advising their employees to work from their home. Here at our system also, in education also, we are encouraging this digital education, online education, and remotely accessed education system. And therefore, all these businesses, particularly in e-domain, that has already started to to have more demand, and this demand will be more and more. There is another aspect of it. Actually, the industry was shifting towards industry 4.0. And the basic feature of industry 4.0 was automation, analytics, and remote work process. This COVID-19 related pandemic scenario, that has accelerated this process. In education, I can say that many people, many senior academicians, they were not so comfortable with the use of technologies. But now there is no such option. There is no other option left. So comfortability with technology needs to be developed. We need to use more and more technology for delivery of this education system, for continuation of this education system. Issues are there. There are different issues. There are issues of internet connectivity. There are issues of people who do not have access to hardware and all these things. But still, at this moment, this is one of the formidable option for continuation of our education programs. And we can see in our society also, the changes was happening in doing many practices through this digital platform. For example, this emergence of organizations like Uber, Ola, Amazon, Netflix. This is the signature, or this is the evidence for all these things. And we were not this e-wallet, Paytm, use of this e-wallet, all these things. Even 1 decade before, even 6 to 7 years before, this culture was not prominent. But now this has become a significant part of our culture, using all these digitally offered services. And therefore, career option in these areas, or programs, education programs in this area for development of more and more professionals now will be one of the focus of our professional education program. Therefore, digital marketing, e-commerce, then e-educations or digital educations, then all sorts of this, management, this cloud-based learning, all these things. Cloud technology is going to take the front seat in the present context. So all this cloud-based technology, this management of all these things, programs on this areas, development of professional in this area, and development of career in these areas, different types of startups, different types of businesses. This will happen here, and this will be our also for not only us, for different professional institutes and professional academic program service. These who are offering these types of programs, for them it will be one of the major aspect. So this is one thing. And then data security, as large numbers of this data will be there at cloud, and large number of data will be at digital media. So security of this data, that is going to be important. So importance of cyber security, network security, data security, these are going to be of paramount importance, and there a large number of professionals will be required, and we need to design, develop programs for that. Besides this, other area, now we can see at this right point of time, as the disruption has taken place in every sphere, and we need to stabilize further or reform further the entire scenario. This is the emergence of knowledge-based micro-entrepreneurship. Probably the situation is similar to Japan. What happened after the Second World War? When the country was devastated, then electronics became one of the this home-based industry. Here also, you see this movement will be restricted, migration will be restricted, import of items from different countries will be restricted. Large organizations, they will be more and more automated. So therefore, in our country, what is the advantage? The advantage of our country is we are blessed with different, these natural resources and human resources. Now here, the scope and the possibility of developing knowledge-based entrepreneurship based on local resources at local areas, this possibility will be more and more viable and formidable. We need to encourage that. And there, if we can develop these sort of ecosystems, providing right sort of knowledge, right sort of this skill, right sort of attitude, and developing right sort of ecosystems, then the economy can take this again a turn in near future. So this is one of the mandate for our government, the central government also, giving lots of encouragement in micro entrepreneurship, knowledge-based entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship based on natural products, entrepreneurship based on digital products, entrepreneurship based on different sorts of these natural resources which are available. So we have to focus on this. So and in these areas we need to develop. Already there are certain programs we need to focus particularly to make more differentiation, more this visible these programs, and more affordable, more this acceptable to the students. So this is the another thing. There will be steady market for there will be for other subjects like food technology, for entertainment also, this digital entertainment, all these things, this entertainment, home-based entertainment, digital entertainment, because you can see the emergence of OTT platforms, virtual reality, augmented reality. These are these was there even we were working on that because we are foreseeing that this is going to disrupt this academics, entertainment, and other scenario, all this emerging technology. Now we are realizing, so this is a reality now, and we need to focus on this, and we need to adopt these sorts of technologies to empower our next generation youngsters, because these are our young minds, these are our demographic dividend. Now, in the what I can see, by 2024, it was supposed to change the entire practices, particularly this industry and all these things. And this COVID-19 induced scenario, they created a situation. The transformation needs to take place at much before time, because now I can foresee by 2021-22 we need to change everything. We cannot wait for 2024-25 to catch up with the global economy, or to this take our economy further ahead. So these are the different things which I can let me again conclude this in this way. So our businesses in based on our natural resources, based on our intellectual resources, like natural products, like digital products, like all other natural resources available. Based on that, our curriculum and programs and training programs and skill programs, skill imparting program needs to be developed. Number one. Number two, more focus will be digital-based technologies, processes, education. Number three, healthcare and pharmaceutical-based products and processes, particularly technology, management, science, and all these things. And with this, I can see that the government is working for development of this digital infrastructure in the entire India. Maybe by this process, it needs to be accelerated further. So hopefully, this entire, this internet penetration, all these things will be completed within 1 or 2 years, and by that time, we will be able to continue all these things. And one of the important culture will be more and more, these practices will be taking place from home. This workplace, this campus, colleges, and all these things, that will be there, but their role will be different. Role of teachers is going to be transformed. Role of teachers is going to be more facilitator or mentor on these things. There are two aspects. One is technical, mechanical aspects like technology, knowledge, and all these things. And there are other aspects, that is human aspects. Human aspects, human being always a social animal. We need to socialize. We need to interact with our colleagues, our friends, our relatives. And for that social touch, for that human touch, for development of motivation, inspiration, all this inner strength, all this inner quality, we need some human touch and human guidance, mentoring. We need encouragement, and there the role of teacher will move on that. But for the knowledge, skill, training, technical aspects, and all other domains, there will be enough resources available. There are available at internet, and there will be a culture of self-development from all these resources. Because the time has come, already it has been preached that time has come for learning, unlearning, and relearning, self-learning, continuous lifelong learning at any place, learning at your place, learning at your pace. So all these are going to be true, going to be followed, but without undermining the importance of human touch, without undermining the importance of these interactions, or getting these affections, care, and all these things from faculties, teachers, parents, it is all these things. So in this way, we are thinking that ecosystem to develop, and by 2020 to 23, there will be an upsurge in the economy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words. Thank you. May I ask Dr. Shaha if there are any questions for Professor Dr. Moitro?
Yeah, sir, there are three questions that BBA MacAut students have raised for you. Although you have already touched upon on all these topics, but I'll still, if you would like to re-emphasize on this. Number one is, what are the new avenues to be opened up for budding managers in post-COVID-19?
I already pointed out that all these budding manager, all the students also, now there is a plethora of opportunities on many online programs, online courses, online trainings are available. Kindly empower yourself through all these training programs in the emerging areas of artificial intelligence, machine learning, cyber security, data security, cryptography, then signal processing, image processing, in all these emerging areas. And this will be the requirement of future. Blockchain, all these things. So all these emergent technological areas, kindly empower yourselves, and you will get enough scope of applying this knowledge in future.
Okay, and sir, one more question that is everybody is asking, and that is, can the virtual classroom be the substitute of the traditional classroom?
Already I pointed out, virtual classroom means this is the time. Virtual classroom is for self-learning. You have to give more time for self-learning, because there are many emergent areas and technologies. You will not get this effective faculty members at every point. This is difficult because most of the technologies, the newly developed technologies, for this you will not get enough these faculties for your training. If it is available, okay. But if it is not available, from online programs, online training programs, empower yourselves. And this the offline classroom, the role of offline classroom, you take it as peer-to-peer interaction, for interaction with your peers, for interaction with your teacher, for expressing your views, for developing more networking, more bonding, for developing emotional intelligence, and all these qualities.
Okay, thank you, sir. These are the few questions that students have raised, and there are few questions were there. I think you have already addressed it in your speech today. Thank you, sir.
Dear, may I, take a minute here, because Professor Moitro is likely to leave. So I would like to thank him for this. Can I? Okay, I'll take a minute or two for this. Professor Shekhar Moitro, you have really touched upon all the relevant areas of technology, management, industry, and of course how the education is going to take a shape of. Thank you very much for your such a wide deliberations and wide ideas given. I think if we have any further, focus on this, any further new issues arised at the end of the program, we'll forward it to you. And just for your information, I'm just mentioning, we have already introduced the technological things that you have already mentioned. We have already chalked off the programs for our students at both all the levels for all the semesters, which we very shortly will start offering to them. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Shekhar Moitro, Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. Thanks for taking your time and being with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request notable HR professional Dr. Sanjay Muthal, the CEO of Contempo, to address the audience. Dr. Muthal is also the independent director on the board of LIC. Sir, over to you.
Thank you so much. Morning to the esteemed panelists, and namaskar to all the friends who are online. So we are now talking in new normal. I would have never thought that I would address 500 people on a virtual platform. If Dr. Banerjee was to tell me this 6 months ago, I would have probably come to EIILM campus and addressed all of you. So one thing we have to realize now is in the history, there is going to be two new terms that will come, AC and BC, before Corona and after Corona. The life is completely changing, or is going to change drastically on the paradigms of life that you and I went to school and learned. they are going to change completely drastically. Before I get into the changes and the transformation, I just want to put a bit context to what we are discussing today. This dreaded virus came into being, and we got first reported death in Wuhan as early as 17th of November 2019. That's why this is called as COVID-19. But till the time it reached our shores, all of us felt that this is somewhere else. It's not going to affect me. So I kept sleeping at my home peacefully. I kept attending to my office peacefully. I started going to my school, attended my school peacefully. The whole human response to this has been that it is somewhere else and it's not going to affect me. Now, this particular paradigm affected the whole world so drastically that, you know, the biggest superpower called United States of America saw the maximum unfortunate deaths of their citizens because we were completely reactive and none of the governments were proactive. Fortunately, we acted well in time. Jury is still out, whether that was good or not, but at least we acted in time. And we had the first lockdown starting from 24th March. November to March, whether it's industry, whether it is education, whether it was government, we were not at all in the proactive mode. What is the impact of that? The impact of that has been disastrous, purely because we were not prepared, and therefore when we react to something, we of course cannot have all our four corners covered. From industry side, there were no BCP in place. BCP is business continuity plans. Work from home became imminent. Now, work from home was a totally a new concept, especially for brick and mortar companies. Companies which are tech companies had the digital platform and the VPNs, because of which they could switch quite easily to work from home, although they had also trouble. But brick and mortar companies, manufacturing, engineering, which is where India is known for, struggled and are still struggling because we didn't have any infrastructure, digital infrastructure to put work from home. That's on the business side. On people's side, it took huge beating on the morale. There is a huge uncertainty. One doesn't know whether my next month's salary is coming or not. One doesn't know whether my job is intact or not. Now, this kind of a philosophy, this kind of a fear, psychosis set in the employee's mind. And therefore, leadership had multiple challenges in terms of how do you improve morale of people, how do you deal with technology, because till then, technology was one part of the business. Today, technology has become the entire edifice of the business. Now, these kind of paradigm changes we saw in India that happened and are happening today. We had a response from government. There was a stimulus package given, and it is pretty widely recognized as a good package. But if you see the package, it only deals or it only supports or helps on the supply side of the economy, not on the demand side of the economy. Unlike some of the governments which did, for example, USA gave money directly in the hands of their citizens. What happens when the demand side is addressed? People go out and buy and the consumption increases. And hopefully that generates another demand and therefore there's money in circulation. So be it. That has not happened. Hopefully that should happen now. Yeah, impact of this has been severe. You saw migrant labor, the way the issue has surfaced, the way, unfortunately, we did not handle it in the manner that we should have handled it. And don't blame only government. Private enterprises, people like you and me, we did not handle it well. And the impact of that is going to be now they have reached home. But the brunt that they have taken is that they are not going to come back to you for love of you now in the cities back. And now when the demand will come, when we go back to normal and when we need labor, we are going to have acute labor shortages. But that's a paradigm that has changed. And therefore, we are now looking at AC era, after COVID era, and that's our topic for today. What happens is probably when you have an earthquake and you build new structures, they hopefully are earthquake proof or seismic proof, as they say. Hopefully, what we will evolve now will be a seismic free education system as well as the work system. On both education and work, this is going to have a profound impact. For me, and I just made some notes yesterday and I was just thinking aloud that in India, for example, we have 32 crores learners those have got impacted. We have 15 lakh schools, 25 crore students, and 94 lakh teachers. And there are 50,000 more teachers for the higher education. A government has set up some national digital library. There was also a program that they set up called Swayam Prabha or something that again jury is out, because if net penetration is not there, how are people going to access even the platform that government offers? Hopefully what we are going to see in New Era, and Dr. Matra talked about it, and I want to reiterate that, we will see in future of education a seismic proof education system. By that, I'm not saying that this online is going to be short term. I don't think online is going to has its purpose, it is required, but it is not going to serve purpose beyond a point. So the future in education is going to be hybrid model. It will be digital versus physical to a lot of extent. Education, therefore, is going to be in the form of what I say, schooling beyond school, learning beyond classroom, and playground beyond playing. Which means we'll have to create, or we will create an ecosystem by which it's going to be learner-centric ecosystem. Students should have access to teachers beyond school, and that's what the new education system will cull out to be from this. There's already a thinking on that, because you can't now afford to have another disaster in future and suffer the way we have suffered today. We still will have challenges. For example, when students have, learning becomes more flexible, learning becomes more online and digital. How do you do assessments? We'll have to create those new assessment centers for getting students to be evaluated. Now, these are the challenges on the education side, but I'm sure that the education is going to be a completely learner focused. It's going to be a completely focusing on the value that it derives and not where it is delivered. By which it's not going to be physical in nature, it's going to be hybrid in nature. That's what my 2 cents on the education side are. On the work side, on the business side, we are going to see a completely paradigm changes from the way we have seen the work. Our work definition today is, I get up at 8 o'clock, have breakfast, go to work at 9. I have a physical office, which may be an SEZ, 10,000 square feet office. I have colleagues who are splattered around in that workplace. We interact, we have a boss, we have a conference room, we have team meetings, we have cafeteria where we enjoy our tea breaks and lunch breaks. We have water fountain where we gossip. That's going to change. That's going to completely change. What we are going to see in future is work from home is going to be new normal. For example, TCS has already announced for next 2 years, 75% of their workforce will work from home. My belief is where outcomes are dependent on computers and telephone, these jobs will become completely 100% work from home. Where there is a physical contact, where there is a brick and mortar relationship, example, manufacturing, factories, we still will have physical workplace. Cushman and Wakefield, the famous world #1 reality advisory company, has now devised an office which they called as 6 by 6 or something like that, which means they have created workplaces which are 6 feet distance. You now have a circular entrance, so people go in that clockwise direction only to their workplace. On the going to their workplace, they will pick up a bunch of stationery, go and sit in their workplace and destroy that stationery at the end of the day. The cafeterias have come with the partitions. The water fountains have been completely sanitized, and that's the kind of workplace that they're selling. For me, 2-3 important things that are going to impact the future workplace. Every house will have mini office when work from home becomes normal. Other important thing that will happen when work from home becomes normal, and this is my conjuncture, is the leaves that we are giving to employees will get reduced. There will be huge amount of focus on reducing the administrative overheads. For example, reality cost will diminish if people start working from home. Large office space will be released. IT and digital is going to be way of life. So there will be huge investment in the IT and digital platform, even in the brick and mortar industries, where they will have to now create new ecosystem and infrastructure to digitize the workplace. For us, especially in HR, it's going to be a huge challenge, because for us, we have always deployed the HR strategies on a bunch of people that work with you by being physically in office. And now suddenly people are going to be distributed when there is a work from home concept. How do I deploy normal, even my routine attendance system? How do I deploy my performance management system? How do I deploy my reward and recognition system? How do I deploy my new compensation and benefit strategy? How do I motivate people? How do I do engagement with people? Because this was all possible when they were bundled together in an organization. Now they are distributed. But that's a huge challenge that HR is going to face. Again, in this particular, Dia, you have to wave me if I'm running out of time, because I have tendency to overshoot. So please alarm me. So that's going to be a challenge. On leadership, the biggest challenge is again balancing between emotion and business. There's a business reality side of it. P&L is taken a huge hit. The last quarter, which is supposed to be the best quarter for most of the organization, have taken a hit because 24th March we started the work from home. Today, inventory is a problem. There is a lot of WIP that's piled up. Receivables haven't come, and therefore balance sheet is looking bad. So what is the new thing that a leader has to think? And the other side, he is facing with this huge dilemma of dealing with people and their emotions. And therefore balancing these two is going to be a kind of a huge challenge for the new leadership. For me, balancing out between office, balancing out between people, and balancing out between the planet are going to be the 3 new challenges for the future of work as we head into the AC era, after COVID era. We don't know how long this will last, as the previous speaker said. I'm only hoping that, my personal belief is the current situation we brought about ourselves. We abused environment, we abused planet, we distributed poisonous gases in this environment, we polluted rivers, we cut the forest, and the virus emanated from somewhere. Somebody says by eating bat, somebody says from the lab in Wuhan, or from wherever. Hopefully, when the new normal happens, the humanity would have changed. Like there was the example of Japan. Japan became an entirely different country and started wearing sleeves Japan on their sleeves, brand Japan on their sleeves. Hopefully, like that, we will have brand humanity on our sleeves and become better human beings and deal with this new AC era, as it were, when we enter into that AC era. Thank you so much, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your perspective with us. Jayanta, sir, do we have questions for Dr. Muthal?
I think questions we'll take at the end.
Okay, sir. Our next speaker is one of the leading technocrats of India, Dr. D.K. Ghosh, the Managing Director of Radio Link Communications. Dr. Ghosh is also the former Chairman and Managing Director of ZTE India. Dr. Ghosh, over to you.
Thank you, Adya. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Dr. Banerjee. Good morning, Dr. Sanjay Muthal. Good morning to all other scholars of EIILM who are on the line. And to begin with, I would like to quote Dhirubhai Ambani. He has made a statement, dream and dream big. And it was on that platform that his son has today become one of the leading businessmen of the world. Similarly today, as I have been attending many webinars and many seminars where I've seen a lot of sob stories which talk about how the world is going down and down and down. We don't know where it is going to end. Thanks to Dr. Sanjay Muthal, he has come out with some very constructive thoughts and ideas. In my view, today the pandemic has indeed created dramatic changes in our lifestyle. We have found social interactions have decreased. Business models are more towards leveraging technology. But there's been a little change. There is a focus on spiritual sciences, focus on alternate medicines, and even home gardening. These are towards AC, as Dr. Muthal was saying. So I would like to say I have been in the electronics and telecom industry for over 50 years. I've seen many companies, and I've never expected to see such a downturn in the world. But that having been said, the world is changing forever. And those will be the successful people who will be able to adapt themselves, and it'll be survival of the quickest. Today, we are using a lot of terms, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and so on and so forth, robotics. Now, these terms will scare young people who have not had a background in this. But mind you, I will try to tell you that it is not necessary. I will come later to a number of projects and ideas which have come from young minds who were not technical people, who were purely managers or even graduates. So I'll come to that a little later. One thing that is there is new age entrepreneurship is before us. This has been touched by Dr. Maitra and also Dr. Muthal. The basic thing is that the new era, whether it's before Corona or after Corona, this new era beckons all of us to join the great opportunity that is unfurling before us. There is opportunity before us. In fact, I would consider Corona as a boon because it has overhauled the entire universe. It has overhauled nature and has made everything human friendly. And we have to seize these opportunities with both hands. To set the tone, I will walk you through a few projects which has been the handiwork of young minds. This is to answer the question which was raised initially, what are the opportunities which are there before us? It's no point talking of theory, but what are the real opportunities? First, I'll talk about 7 opportunities, but this is not all. These are just tip of the iceberg. An infinite number of opportunities which a young mind can conjure up. Number 1 is drones. Drones today are one of the best platforms for growth into tomorrow. The whole world is exploding with this opportunity. This will be covering healthcare, traffic management, and what have you. And even the government of India is using it to fight terrorists. Drones today are of different classes, different types. Some of the drones could be like an aeroplane used by USA to attack the terrorists. There could be drones which are as big as 2 feet by 2 feet. And this is being deployed very widely today. I would recommend to our young minds to think of drones as an opportunity. Take up a small drone and try to become a drone pilot. A person who operates a drone is called a drone pilot. And try to get into the business with government, with healthcare. People are there who would like to offer healthcare medicines to remote areas. This is being done today by young people who have accepted this as an opportunity. So there's just a start. Next is hydroponic farming. Hydroponic comes from the word pond, which means these are farms which do not use soils. It's a soilless farming. What that means is there are racks, about one on top of each other, vertical racks and horizontal racks. And vertically, there are separators in which liquid nutrients are pumped in, and from another channel, water is pumped in. And this is causing a revolution. Even in South India, they have started this, and some of the farmers have stopped farming on the land. They are using it for other applications. And they are having arrays and arrays of these hydroponic farming, which is giving them organic, the produce is organic. It can be leafy vegetables, it can be vegetables, it can be fruits. This is something which could be of great interest and opportunity for young people. Next is Thermo Scan. I'm rushing through this because of time. Thermo Scan is a handheld device. This was developed by a young lady who's an engineer, and her partner who is a MBA. He was an MBA from somewhere in Pune. They together developed this concept of Thermo Scan, which in broad terms means it detects brain hemorrhage. Whenever there is a hit on the head and there is a hemorrhage in the head, it is absolutely essential to know where the hemorrhage is occurring within 8 hours. If it continues beyond 8 hours, the situation could become fatal. So this is being widely used in a number of hospitals in India, in Holy Family Hospital in Delhi, and other renowned hospitals is being used. It is just a handheld scanner which is pointed towards the head, and a button is pressed, and it gives a pictorial representation of where is the wound and how much is the wound. So this is called the Thermo Scan. Then this blood urine analyzer. Today, whenever we want to go for blood test, we go to a pathologist, or urine test, again, pathologist. They charge quite a bit, but this is a product of a gentleman from Calcutta. He has developed a thing known as blood urine analyzer. This has been widely praised. It has been widely recommended by various institutions all around the world. What it does is, it is a small device, 6 inches by 4 inches by 3 inches. That's a little box. And it has got a handheld mobile phone, which is on top. Amazingly, this small product uses optical technology to study the blood and separately urine content, and gives very accurate result. Normally results are 92% accurate. This device gives 95% accuracy, and they are trying to even work to a still higher degree of accuracy. It is cheaper than existing systems and is extremely popular. Then the same person and his team, they have developed what is known as a soil Sati solution. Soil Sati solution is a very interesting product. It enables, suppose you take an agricultural plot, it will map the entire agricultural product to see where are the deficiencies in specific minerals. And by so doing, they plot the map, and then they can use either manual means or by using a drone to distribute the deficient minerals in those areas. The result is that instead of using fertilizers, the soil becomes extremely rich and can offer very high quality produce, organic. Again, this is also a product from Calcutta. So we should be proud that the young people are doing so much. Sixth product that I want to talk about is the thing, today we know that plastics, first application plastics, is a big threat to the world. So what happens? There's a gentleman in Pune. He has developed a product called Kerastics. Kerastics is a term which he has used, which is called, it is biodegradable and compostable. That means it is not going to pollute the earth. And he has done it, he's got a patent. All these are patented, by the way, by the people concerned. He has patented it and has won the acclaim of a lot of investors in America. So we send some sample to America, and if it works, this will flood the American market. Mind you, it is not a fantastic product. If you see it, you'll be surprised. But the fact is that it has been done. Then comes security. Seventh, in security, a lot of institutions, schools, colleges, malls, and what have you, offices, they have to now screen the people from various places. To do that, they use what is known as dual authenticated facial recognition. Dual authenticated facial recognition means there are two cameras. One camera is called a thermal camera, it's expensive, and the other is called a high resolution camera. The cameras point towards the visitor who's coming. He enters through a passage, and his health for COVID is measured. If he has COVID, his face shows up with a red border. That means he is ill and is COVID patient. If not, he's passed. And the other one, well, plots his face, stores it so that it is known that this person is a valid visitor. So these are some of the products that is there. And I could go on and on and on because I have strong base in Israel, in China, in Taiwan, and Germany. And from there, these are the cradles of innovation and creativity. And get lots of projects coming to me from them. So this being the case, it will be a pleasure for me to offer any support that I can to EIILM pass outs. And as soon as the epidemic fades away, there will be huge openings for all, maybe even before, be it as an executive or as a budding entrepreneur. Choice is yours. Best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for such an informative address. May I now request Professor Dr. R.P. Banerjee to talk about the issue today. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody. I think I have 10 minutes time left. I'll manage within that time. Today's topic is very, very interesting topic and very essential for all of us. And the discussions have been, so much that it has almost covered all areas. But I have a specific view about it. I'll just take your attention to a fact of today's morning. Right now, just an hour back, our Sensex had recorded 33,780 mark, 33780. That has been the BSE Sensex right now today. And this, why I have mentioned this, because there has been a widespread sentiment mentioning rumors and perceptions by people saying that everything has gone to the drains and we don't have any hope. Thank you, Dr. Ghosh, that you have mentioned that it's a boon. I don't want to put it like this, but I believe that it's going to bring a new boon to all of us. This corona has actually given a chance or expedited the things which were on the wait. For example, digitalization is not a new thing for India. Digital India was a slogan just 3 years ago launched by the government. It did not pick up. Now, corona has actually pushed people towards that. The technology that we have been talking about, using, and recommending, all these are, minimum 10 years old. None of this is, a breed within the last couple of years or last 4 or 5 years. And some of those, advanced technologies are even 40 or 50 years old. So it is not that world is going to consider a new mode of functioning. It's but that world is adapting to a new reality. What Dr. Muttal had mentioned in the beginning, that this is a new reality. Now, in this new reality, what's going to happen? I'll just take a similar situation. I'll take a when computers were there in the world, early 80s, and in India, early 90s. In except Japan, in other parts of Asia, it was not there. Japan, then South Korea, part of China, and then they geared up. India was late runners. But then when computers came, there were a lot of appreciation that everything will be, in the drains. Computers will take away all the jobs, so there will be thousands, millions of people jobless, and then work will not take place. This did not happen. There was a new reality created. Computer did not dominate us. It actually started working as our, aid in our hand, a kind of multiplier in our workplace. Now the digitalization that we have been talking about, it's actually very good. This is going to create a mix of two things. One is, the spiritual component, what Dr. Ghosh had touched upon, the technology and spirituality. The spiritual identity of man has not been, considered in the modern era. Modernism has actually, pushed that aside, pushed that, behind every individual. That has to come forward. Because, if you're working from home, or if you're not that thick in the office present, then the people should work on the principle of trust, reliability, and you should give back by way of becoming efficient and effective. So what, as a student, if I'm a student, what is needed of me? For me, knowledge has to be more intense, focused, and through that, I create my effectiveness and efficiency together. So I have to create a mix of effectiveness and efficiency. Whether you are going to use AI, artificial intelligence, or you are going to use some mechanisms, some tools, because these technological tools will not stop. This will go on continuously. Human society shall continuously create. There was a time when we had gramophone records. Then we came up with advanced things. We had in the initial phase floppy diskettes. Then we have developed this pen drive, small pen drives, one GB just. Now we have such a high powerful thing. When the radio was first there, there's the big machine. I've seen the mainframe computer when my university, when I was a student, that had acquired, university. It was like a Godrej Almira. Now you have a thin laptop which is 1.5 kg only. So technology is changing. It is not going to. It does not have the power and capacity to wash off the human dominance and human presence. What we have to do is we redesign ourselves, rescale ourselves. Where do we redesign? On the knowledge front, whether we come to the college every day or not will not matter much. Because when I'm taking a digital class with my teacher on the other side of the digital terminal, I'm learning that. And what Professor Shrikant Maithur had mentioned, one of the points, I consider that very important, that he did not mention the term, but I am mentioning this term. It's a very ancient term, Swadhyay and Abhyas. Swadhyay and Abhyas. Swadhyay, the meaning is self-study. This is a term which was used in Vedic civilization when our Vedic teachers used to teach their students, the disciples. It was actually left to them to develop the thought, through thought and practice, the knowledge that was given. And that method was known as a Swadhyay, meaning self-study. So everybody has to do a self-study. Just Google copying and Google, following the Google is not going to serve the purpose. Knowledge is not there in the Google God. Google God can support us with the knowledge, but the knowledge is there when we have an interaction with the teachers, in our books, in the periodicals, in the journals, whether it is a physical source or a digital source, it will not create much of difference. What is our focus then? Where India and the world has to excel. The technology is going to give a new shape to the industry, manufacturing, business, human relations. The relations, human relations will obviously change. The workplace designing will change, but the workplace has to be there. The car has to come, roll out of the factory. The car has to be made in the factory. The materials have to be, the Maggie has to be prepared somewhere in a factory. Only then the Amazon carries the Maggie to your doorstep for you to do a 2 minutes kind of thing and you eat. So the material has to be ready, has to be prepared. Nothing is there which can replace that. So the world has to find out the ways to do that. Manufacturing is not going to stop. The production is not going to stop. Only the mechanism is going to stop. Only the method is going to stop. Only the relationship is going to have a change and transformation. This is a new thing, good thing for India. I'm telling you, India was actually starving of the opportunities. Last 70, 75 years, India did not get that much of opportunities. Now opportunities are flooding to our country and has to flood in more numbers because people are getting disillusioned with China. Those who think that China has become a giant, it's true, it's become a giant. But I'm telling that I have done a estimation that China cannot sustain a autocracy where the president can declare himself as a lifelong president cannot be considered a society which is sustainable. This cannot be a sustainable society. And companies who are actually accustomed to a freedom, with a democracy, with a free space, can't be complacent with that. So they have to shift, and they've started to shift. And if they shift, then which should be the largest market? The largest market is India. The consumption market is in India. So whether it's a supply side support or a demand side support, India is going to catch hold of that, and it is already started. So what I'm saying is, technology is going to serve the purpose of the new rolling out. Technology is going to give us shape to the new kind of machines, new instruments, new devices, new products, new provisions, and the role of people has to be there. And the requirement of the managers will be more. What kind of managers we need? We need a manager who would understand the application of technology. The manager doesn't have to learn how machine learning can be operated. Manager has to learn how the machine learning can be utilized for a management decision making. The manager needs to know how to transmit. For example, internet. That is an issue that internet is not available everywhere. But we have this VPN, the virtual. We have the virtual private network. Virtual private networks would get support. You have a direct connection with satellite. If your video streaming is not there, you have your telephone connections. How does it operate? It operates on the basis of the sound waves. And if the sound wave is fundamental, that fundamental wave is there and you can utilize that and you can do the things out of it. And therefore, it will not restrict our movement, it will not restrict our work, it will not restrict our thoughts, it will not restrict our life. So what is going to happen is going to give a new shape. For example, there was a time when we did not at all, Indians did not at all wear trousers, shirts, this neckties and everything. Now you will find hardly anybody available in the urban society without that. So there is a transformation in the, living style, dress habit, the, choice of life kind of thing. The kitchens, if you look at the kitchens of people, the kitchens were what? The shanty things, wooden logs were burnt and, used to get your food cooked out of that. Yet people used to survive. Now you have a mechanistic thing, you have got a, you've got an all organized thing at hand. The kitchen has transformed. Your home has transformed. that there was no concept of having, toilet within the living premises. Toilets were there in meadows. And now it is a toilet is just the next to your bedroom or your, puja room. So what happens is it changes. Technology gives a new shape to life, but technology does not have the capacity to take away everything from life. Technology itself cannot survive. Technology has to survive as a subservient to people. So that way, what I find is a lot of more opportunities for the managerial manpower. Managerial manpower will not be limited to only pharmaceutical, only medical, or only certain digital sources, because everything has to run. Digital has to run based on other materials in the society, and that is what the capital market is sensing. Capital market is the best sensor in the economy. The GDP is a backdated idea. Those economists who are projecting GDP as a focus, they are mistaking and misguiding us. You need to look at the capital market. How does it sense? It is actually sensing the sentiment of people and the direction of the world. And India is coming back. Our Sensex had dropped down to near 20,000 points. Now it is come back to almost close to 34,000. And I'm very sure time is coming, very closely, maybe a few months from now, when it's going to cross 40,000 and heading towards 50,000. A lot of opportunities are going to create it. We see what will happen. Many people will lose their current job to fit into the new job. That is what had happened when computers came into society. Many people had lost their manual job and got into the areas where new technology were fitted in, and people will reskill themselves. Our managers will have a better opportunity now. There will be a lot of opportunities for the managers and larger opportunities. And of course, what Dr. Ghosh has mentioned is the wonderful thing: entrepreneurship. New opportunities for entrepreneurship are emerging, and entrepreneurship based on innovation and creativity would be even more advanced kind of thing. So opportunities in the corporate market is not shrinking. Education has to go hand in hand with physical and digital. Education has to have a part of it physical and part of it digital. Only digital won't do, only physical also is not possible. So it is the mix of physical and digital. Our evaluation system is established as a mix of physical and a digital. So that has to continue in education at all levels, starting from schools up to the PhD doctoral program. All levels this has to continue, and the society has to accept the problems. Like today is the coronavirus, next day could be some other virus or some other thing, but life is not going to stop. Life has to continue. Life has to continue forward with a positive agenda. What is the positive agenda? Unless the managers are there, who will take care of the society? Who will take care of the enterprises? Thousands, millions of small enterprises will be created. Who will manage that? Who will take care of that? Huge number of opportunities for the right kind of managers are coming up. Why? When I'm saying right kind of, I'm meaning that it has to be a mix of your effectiveness and efficiency. How do I develop my efficiency? When it was a normal market, I'm saying, the previous market was a normal market. Then lack of some amount of knowledge would have done. Now it's not possible. What you have to do, you have to create a competitive advantage of yours, a competitive positioning of yours through having an added knowledge and added, spirit to take off, new challenges in the market and in your work life. So I thought that, I'll touch upon some points, in a nutshell. That is the thing that I thought that, this is how I could cover the, topic and the point. Thank you very much for giving, audience to what I have tried to mention. And thank you very much, Dr. Joyanto Shah, to have arranged this. And thanks a lot, Professor Dia Banerjee, for, scheduling and managing this podium now. Back to Professor Dia Banerjee. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was most insightful. Thank you. Could I now ask our host, Dr. Joyanto Shah, if there are questions for our speakers?
Yeah, well, I'll just open questions to our panelists. That I just want to brief that most of the attendees today are our BBA students and our MBA second semester students, and also the students who are going to join this year. So there are many questions that we are receiving. Is that, and the one of the anxiety that they are facing is that they are saying, sir, Corona is there today, but they are going to some of them are going to go for their placement next year. So they are asking, like, what will be the economic employment scenario in the next year and next year onwards. So if you could put an highlight on this, I'll ask all the panelists if they would like to put their comments. I starting with Muthal sir.
Yeah, interesting question and good question. Where the gentleman asked this question. Opportunities, as Dr. Banerjee said, will be immense. I don't think any placements are going to be impacted or are going to be impaired next year. This year also, we aren't seeing placements going down, frankly. I advise many universities, and I'm seeing somewhere they're deferred till September, but haven't seen many dropping. All the good corporations have said we are going to continue what we have offered. Lots of them already e-joining has happened from 1st of June. So the good news is I don't think talent is going to be a challenge for the new economy. Talent is going to be scarce, and therefore there will be always talent for the good demand for the good talent. So what you need to do is, in any situation, this is a competitive world. Whenever you are in the organization, where you're in the school, how can I get into that top 10 percentile of my class, top 10 percentile of my subject population is in your hand. Can you do something to reach there? Time that you have now, can you do upskilling for yourself? Can you learn something which is not prescribed for you? Can you do something which you think the industry of your choice, which is FMCG, pharma, that skill is required, which you probably do not have? Can you engage with some online program and do that? Because proactively doing this will essentially enrich your profile and biodata, and it will be extremely demanding to say no to your profile. So why don't we invest this time into developing our skill set, developing our competencies to get into that top 10 percentile? 2022 is when they are saying normalcy in the economy will happen. But that does not bar from any new hirings. E-commerce, digital platform, communication technology. Do you know Zoom market cap was higher than top 5 biggest brands globally just a month ago? Communication technology is going to be the huge new employer. E-commerce platform for sure are going to be way of life and are going to go extremely high. The evergreen pharma sector is going to bloom. There are huge opportunities in the pharma sector because suddenly people have realized that we haven't invested much there, especially in the R&D side. Then healthcare, and I'm saying healthcare, entire healthcare spectrum, right from hospitals to providers to healthcare professionals to insurance, so on and so forth, is going to be a huge area of opportunity for all of us in the future. So look at some of these emerging trends and try and skill yourself that direction proactively, and just don't get psyched by the talk that is going around that short term there will be a dip, but human beings are known to be extremely survival oriented. We have had disasters in the past. In fact, can you imagine the Spanish flu? There was no technology, there was no digital platform. We lost lives, but human race emerged very competitively after that. Second World War, Europe was completely washed out. Europe emerged back as a new market. Hiroshima is another example. So this is a time to pause reflect, and reinvent yourself. So instead of worrying about the distant future, invest now, build your capacities and capabilities, and face the world, because I think that way nobody is going to refuse you employment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Director, sir, if you go, sir, you would like to say something?
I would like to say something to add to what Dr. Mutal has so well enlightened us. This, just a minute, is there's the emergence of expertise which is required today. Industries finding that they are wanting to employ, or the right sort of employee are not available. Specialized employees are not available. So a new term has come in, which is known as the gig economy. The gig economy is a modern term, which means they appoint subject matter experts for the issue in question for a specific period. Maybe let's say it is drones. A company wants to go into drones. Then they hire a person who has specialized knowledge of the technology and the market and can help them. And they hire him for a specific period, maybe 6 months, and offer him a big pay. After that, he is out. He is no more with the company. This is one area which is coming in, and subject matter experts are very, very much in demand. And as Dr. Mutal said, this is the time to be in the top 10 percentile of the population. To be among the lower ranks is not the in thing. So the effort should be to try and become experts in whatever field one is. And even if it's possible, to even acquire expertise in areas even beyond. That's my point.
Jayanta, may I just add?
Yeah.
Which is a very valid point Dr. Ghosh made, that gig economy is here to stay. Therefore, the employment model and the engagement models are going to completely see changes. Come next 5 years, by 2025, the jobs are not going to be appointed at the age of 21 and appointment letter will say you retire at 58 years. Gone are those days. The talent is going to engage and disengage. It's going to be in the form of, as you said, expertise. It will be form of need, and the need is going to be determined by the talent and not the organization. So good news is people are going to have choices and not the industry. And therefore we are further getting into the extremely competitive talent era. And hence, as I repeat again, make yourself worthy of that. And don't worry about when I'm going to retire, and gone are those days. Those paradigms have changed. It is about adding value here and now and contributing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll write you, Dr. R.P. Banerjee, sir, if you could give your final comment on this question.
Yeah, I think this is the first and last question I get, meaning probably this is the first and last question, because this question is so versatile that it answers almost all related questions, and already, for Dr. Ghosh and Dr. Muthal have answered. And I would just mention one thing, I have scanned this, history of emergence of business in the world. And, from that point of view, I can mention that globally in the world, now market has replaced the position of God. Now market has become God. Market God is going to determine the shape of things. Anything that you are going to create, innovate, offer to, the society, to the world, has to be endorsed by the market. If the market is not taking that, no product, no service is going to sustain. And who are there to maintain the market, understand the market, and operate things in the market as a leader, as a professional, as an executor of the market, the managers. So the roles of managers are going to increase, is not going to be diminished, is going to increase. Because whether it's a post-corona or post to the next thing, the technological innovation has to continue. Now the managers will have to equip themselves with certain tools which will be, for example, for EIILM students, I can mention, EILM has already designed the, new, added program, which is an add-on program for existing students and for future students, wherein, the points that have been mentioned, we have done a research, quick research on that, and we are globally connected on that. And we have developed a thing which would be, suited for the managers to learn. So the manager, for example, who understands the market. Market is the economic aspect of the market, is the financial aspect of the market, is the marketing aspect of the market, is a human, like consumer psychology of the market, the consumer sentiment of the market, the consumer behavioral pattern of the market, everything put together. So the managers are better equipped with the tools and understanding of the market. If they are so, then the technology is going to be within their control, and with the help of technology, they can edge over others. The managers will have a better thriving position now than before. So what I find is, Indian managers, Indian, students who become the managers now or near future will have a better scope to manage organizations. It's not going to be limited to only pharmaceutical. I have a difference on that, because pharmaceutical will have growth because it was lagging behind. It was just 1.4% of GDP in the health sector. Now the government has announced that it's going to be 2.4%, 1% additional GDP. And see, for example, this 5 trillion INR is going to be pumped into the economy. Where will this money go? This MSME and this micro sector, the major manufacturing sector, they are going to be benefited out of it. And how will they manage their activities? They need managers. They will require more managers. So managers in all disciplines, all areas will be needed much more than before. So what I find is, there is no point in, and of course, Americanism has now grasped, everywhere. It is now gone everywhere. What is an Americanism? Your efficiency will be your identity. I am saying not only efficiency, it is the mix of efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency and effectiveness, you need to club this together, and that's going to create your identity. And if you have that mix of these two, nobody in the world can, say no to you. Your opportunities are going to come, and, one after other. Thank you very much. I hope I have touched upon the aspects of the question from my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We are completely running out of time. So what we'll do is that we have a small poll with 3 questions for the audience. So I'll just launch this poll for all the audience to participate.